Guys, as always, it is so good to be back. It's Three Bold Takes. Freddie, Chase, and Quinn. As always, we're sponsored by SeatGeek. If you want $20 off your first ticket purchase, make sure to use our discount code Three Bold Takes. That is the discount code Three Bold Takes. We're talking conference championships all weekend long. We're super excited. If you're interested in one of those, make sure to use SeatGeek, our partner, for $20 off your first ticket.
Guys, it's time to move on to the American Championship here between Tulane and Army, which, by the way, before last weekend, rivalry weekend, Tulane had a chance to make the college football playoff. Unfortunately, they lost to Memphis 34-24. Army comes in at 10-1. The only blemish on their record is an absolutely curb stomping that took place at the hands of Notre Dame. Army comes in ranked 24th in the latest college football playoff poll. Tulane unranked, unfortunately, but Tulane comes in as a 5-point favorite in the game here. Fellas, this should be fun. I wish Tulane would have won last week, so there was a little bit more meaning behind this game. But talk to me, Chase. Who do you got in this game?
And this is actually really tough. You can't hate on what Army's done all year. They have a great track record. They've absolutely dominated their conference. First of all, with a couple of the top opponents, kind of like East Carolina. Who else have they got on here? North Texas. Those kind of guys. They've absolutely wiped the floor with and played really well. But then the Notre Dame one, it's a blemish. I don't want to say it's a huge blemish because Army just runs a different type of offense that when playing the bigger schools, it's just not going to keep up. The wishbone triple whatever you want to call it, it's just not able to keep up with the bigger Power Five schools. Tulane, on the other hand, played a couple of Power Fives, Kansas State, Oklahoma, and they fared well. And then all of a sudden they drop a game to Memphis at the end of the year. Maybe they're looking ahead to this game. Maybe they're thinking, hey, we're in the conference championship and we're okay. But I really had Tulane big in that last one. Now they're on the road at Army. I think this is going to be a lot more difficult game. I'm still going to go Tulane here. I think they barely pull it off. I think it is going to be they're going to get knocked in the mouth the whole first half by this offense from Army. I think the defense as well from Army is really going to hold them tight. I think Tulane's finally going to pull out through the end because they played pretty well against our conference as well. Absolutely dominating Navy, who was the third in conference by 35, and then again the loss to Memphis. But I'm going to go Tulane in this one as well. Quinn.
Yeah, I want to start by acknowledging the fact that Army's going to come into this game off of a bye week. They didn't play anybody this past weekend. So that's a huge advantage for the Black Knights. Outside of that, like physicality, another advantage Army's bringing into this game. Like if you had to ask me who's going to be the more physical team in this matchup, it will be Army. That's where the buck stops for me. I think Tulane has the huge edge in talent and in coaching. This is going to be John Summerall's third year as a head coach, 2 years at Troy, now this year at Tulane. He has made his conference championship game every year. He's about to have won his conference championship game every year as well. I'm not trying to be the villain, and the Army's been a fun story, but I think Tulane has the huge talent and coaching edge, and they get this job done against Army. I like Tulane by 9 points.
Yeah, so Army did actually play last week, and they played a UTSA actually.
Okay, there you
they
go.
won 29-24. Traditionally, Army's normally not in conference championships, so they get this weekend off for next week's Army Navy game, and it's their whole deal.
Sure.
This is tough because when you just look at these two teams and their records, right? You got Tulane at 9-3, but I think it's important to know who the two of the three losses was against. Chase, you kind of mentioned it, Oklahoma and Kansas State. Up until the Memphis game, there had been no blemish on their scorecard, I guess, against a team that was a group of 5. But the Memphis game did happen. Whereas if you look at Army, a bunch of gritty wins, right? I'm talking 14-3s, 20-3s. Now, they did play ECU 45-20. That's a little bit different of a ball game there. But when you look at Tulane, I just think that their offense and the way that they play the game is going to translate to a lot more points than what Army can actually score. So give me Tulane to win as well. I think this is going to be a fun game. Looks like the over-under on this is 45.5. That one's tough because Tulane can score some points now.
Yeah, but Army can kill a clock.
They
They
can.
can.
They
They
can.
held one for an entire quarter this year. That's just insane.
I'm gonna go out on the limb and I'm gonna take the over on that game. 5.5. So I've got Tulane winning, covering the spread and the over in the 45.5. That's a hot take there. Excuse me, that's a bold take there. But guys, this has been the American Conference Championship prediction. I've been Freddie. I'm joined by Chase and Quinn here from the guys over at 3 Bold Takes. Appreciate you watching. More conference championship game predictions on the way. And as always, we're sponsored by SeatGeek. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys